Amongst many fools at times, I would say. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Kerry McCarthy, MP for Bristol, has been a speaker at one of our previous marches in that city, a real wildlife campaigner, a real friend of badgers. It's a real pleasure to have you. Thanks, Kerry.
Thank you very much, Dominic. I spoke with Dominic at the rally in Bristol and he absolutely wowed the crowd with his passion. I'm really glad that he's taken up the post at the Badger Trust now. I want to thank everybody for turning out today to support this cause, and I also want to pay tribute to the many activists who maintained vigils during the pilot culls in the culling areas in West Somerset and West Gloucestershire. There were people who were out there in all types of weather, in the freezing cold in the middle of the night, helping those badgers move those goalposts so that the culls couldn't go ahead and would be sufficiently monitored. And over in that place, probably in about the next 10-15 minutes, we'll start the badger cull debate. And I hope that today is finally the day that we persuade the government to see reason. Those of us who have looked at the evidence, listened to the experts, really sort of thought about this policy, have known for a very long time that it is not only inhumane and ineffective, as the independent panel of experts have now confirmed, but we've known it's just an absolute farce, that the pilot culls were a complete and utter shambles, complete waste of money. It's estimated that it cost more than £4,000 per badger killed, done nothing whatsoever to reduce the transmission of bovine TB. Obviously the way forward is vaccinations for badgers and for cattle. It's brilliant that there's an initiative to take that forward that will be volunteer-led and will cost a lot less money than any efforts that culling badgers would, but also importantly would be far more effective and humane than any efforts to cull badgers. It's also really imperative, and we just can't drum this home, and it's so frustrating when you try to debate these issues with the farming lobby within Parliament. 94% of bovine TB cases are cattle to cattle transmitted. Surely then, rather than focusing on the badgers, we ought to be focusing on preventing that cattle to cattle transmission by better husbandry, better testing of cattle, restrictions on cattle movements, clamping down on those farmers. There's been some prosecutions for farmers who have sold cattle that are infected and declared that they weren't, which obviously spreads the disease. Really important that we put that case across. And as I said, it's incredibly frustrating when you talk to the likes of Owen Patterson. Well, I say talk, but Owen Patterson will just swear blind that, you know, the number of times I've questioned him, my colleagues have questioned him, and my colleagues Hughie Ranker-Davis and Maria Eagle send their best wishes. They're there ready to start the debate in a moment. But it's just like talking to a complete, I don't know, a zombie or something. There is just no willingness on his part to pay any heed at all to anything that anybody else says. He is so wedded to the idea that culling is the answer and he wants the badger culls to go ahead. So despite the evidence that the pilots were a complete and utter farce, a complete and utter fiasco, free shooting doesn't work, he still said that he wants to go ahead with running those schemes again this year. It's really important that we all sort of stick together and try to stop that happening. Today's vote is going to be really important. I pay tribute to colleagues like Tracy Crouch on the Conservative side, who's been very brave to stand up and join with Labour in opposing this. So keep up the good fight. I think this really is a fight we can win because everything supports our case. The science supports our case, public opinion supports our case, all the evidence on the ground supports our case. It's a cause worth fighting for, so please carry on doing that and we'll be with you.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure. And thank